I used to tell the actors in宇宙即乐团 that there are more cells in our body than there are stars in the universe, and that each cell, adjusted for size, produces more energy than a city like New York City. Just one cell, it's funny, like, because it's that big, one cell, given its tiny size and the amount of energy it produces, if you were to scale that up as big as New York City, it produces more energy than New York City. And we have more cells in us than there are stars in the universe, or maybe it was galaxy, I don't remember. And that what that meant to me was that we are like we have the entire energy of a galaxy inside of us, like a universe or a galaxy full of energy in this, adjusted for size. And that the number one thing that's in me, in everybody, in atoms, is space, right? If you look at an atom, because they're this big, if you look at an atom and, the size of the nucleus compared to where the electrons are and the size of the electrons compared to the outer shell, that it's like 99% space. So atoms are almost all space, cells made of atoms, almost all space, which means that we as humans are almost all space. And what's amazing is, we know that. I'll get to my point in a second. So we know that we are self-aware space, or maybe I should just speak for myself. I am self-aware space. I am space that knows it is space. And that is awesome. I have a friend who's going through some stuff right now. I have a couple friends who are going through some stuff right now. And, I think they wonder what's the point if you don't have the thing you want to have, or you lost the thing you used to have, then what's the point? And I was talking to one of them about, just the connection to being alive and what that means. But, what that means to me is not just the sensory or tactile feelings, the tastes and flavors and scents and things we hear, the sounds and the smells and the things we touch, and and it's not just the sensations, it's not just the feelings that I have, it's there's some sort of connection. And to me, that connection is to space. And I mean, I think, when I think about Taoism, I think they usually talk about, kong, like emptiness. And I don't think emptiness is the lack of things. In English, empty it's kind of a negative word, I feel like. It's, you want to be full of something, full of satisfaction. And being empty doesn't sound good, but emptiness is just space, and that's what I'm full of. And it's not bad. It's just I'm space that knows it's space. And there's all of these things going on in my body right now, just capillaries and blood flow and air, and it's just there's so much activity, and I don't have any control over it. I am as powerless over my kidneys as I am over anybody and anything. I can't control anything. At best, I can't control what I think. I wish I could. I can sometimes control whether or not I dwell on something. But if I start thinking about something just because I saw something outside, I didn't want to think that. I didn't ask to think that. And all I can really control is whether or not I act on it. How do I behave? I have some level of control over that. And, more control, the more centered I am, the more I'm doing, healthy or spiritual, or whatever you want to call it, activities. Anybody who knows me knows I certainly don't mean religious. But hey, if that helps people, whatever. And that kind of gets to my final point, which is belief. Like all that stuff about, we are right now on a planet that's spinning, rotating, and at the same point, it's also revolving. So it's rotating while it's revolving around the sun. And that whole unit that's rotating and revolving is itself shooting through space, revolving in a giant, sort of loop around the galactic core. I don't know, whatever it is. I feel like I know that to be true. I feel like I know that atoms exist and they're made of space. I feel like I know that there are all these things going on in my body. And yet I've recognized that at the very least, I live in a country where a lot of people don't necessarily believe what I would consider to be facts. And I don't know what to do about that, you know? And all I can say is I think this right here has got to be part of it, because it seems like it's what I'm supposed to be doing right now. So more shall be revealed, as they say.